Thursday, March 15th. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. On today's show, we'll talk to Barnstable Youth Commission Chair Matt Hersey. Then we'll learn about the new schedule coming to Barnstable High School this fall with School Counseling Department Head Jen Clark. And finally, we get an update from Town Clerk Ann Quirk. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. The Barnstable Youth Commission will again be hosting their Community Prevention Forum and 7th Grade Youth Summit. The Community Prevention Forum will be held today, Thursday, March 15th at 5:30 p.m. at the Cape Cod Community College in the Tilden Arts Center. The public is welcome to attend for a presentation and open discussion with a panel of Barnstable police officers to discuss, demonstrate, and share views on how we can work together to keep our community safe. The 7th Grade Youth Summit will take place the next day, also at Cape Cod Community College, with Dynamic Influence and Kevin Rosario, along with BHS Peer Leadership presenting. There will also be presentations by many clubs, sports, and activities that will be available to the 7th graders entering the high school in the fall. We will hear more about the Community Prevention Forum and Youth Summit now from Barnstable Youth Commission Chair Matt Hersey. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about a big project that the Barnstable Youth Commission works on. You guys have been doing this for quite a few years. It's the Community Prevention Substance Abuse Forum, as well as the 7th Grade Youth Summit. So let's start with the Community Prevention Forum. That's taking place on March 15th, Thursday night at Cape Cod Community College. What can you tell me about the Prevention Forum?
Sure. So the Prevention Forum in the past has kind of been a way that we've introduced our keynote speakers, kind of got the parents and the community on board with our youth summit. But this year we're going in a little bit different direction. We're bringing in the Barnstable Police to kind of do a panel and interact with the community and the parents and whoever might want to show up to see really what the nature of the beast is in the town.
It'll be a good opportunity for parents to really talk directly to the police department about the things that they should be concerned with.
Right.
When you approach the police department, what do they think about being the presenters for Thursday night?
Sure. So on our commission, we have Lieutenant Chalice is one of our advisors, and when we brought it up, she was beaming about it. She really jumped on it because she's always looking for ways to get us involved with the police, just to kind of show the community and I guess the kids as well that the police are a resource for them and not really an obstacle. And so when we approached her at one of our meetings about possibly bringing in the police, she was all for it. She was really excited about it. So
that's excellent.
Yeah,
very cool. So the Community Prevention Forum is going to be on Thursday, and that's for parents, grandparents, people who live in the community that are concerned with the drug problem that we have, not just here in Barnstable, but in the entire United States and in the world, really. So that'll be at 5:30 p.m. Are you going to have anything special that if parents need help with their children, and like I say, they have small children?
Absolutely. There will be babysitting provided by, I believe, the Recreation Department.
Yeah, some of their program people who run the programs are going to be there providing
familiar faces.
Yes. So, if you've taken part in any of the rec programs, you'll know some of the kids that are there to provide babysitting, so you can trust that everything will be okay. Like you said, it's open to the public. People can come. The narcotics unit is going to be there. Are they just going to be speaking? Will they be presenting anything in particular?
We haven't really specifically gone over it with them, but since it's going to be a panel, we'll kind of introduce them. A few opening remarks about the nature of the town and our youth summit the following day, and then we'll open it up to the room. And in the past, we've kind of do that as well with Anita Devlin and Mike Devlin, and then Chris Herron as well. They kind of just opened it up to the room, and they're really willing to connect, and so I'm hoping the police will do that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and it's a great opportunity for parents maybe to ask the questions that maybe there's something that they don't know about that they're interested in finding out more, and I'm sure they will learn about things that they didn't even know existed.
Absolutely.
So the following day, on Friday, March 16th, is the Youth Summit. This is 7th Grade Youth Summit, and all of the 7th graders from Barnstable Intermediate School will be coming to Cape Cod Community College. What can the kids expect that day when they come?
They can expect commitment to them, and that's one of the things that we've been really, really prideful about since moving it to the community college, is that I think one of our slight concerns the first year we created it was how interested the kids are going to be in this message. And the first year was a little bit rocky, but it was also the first year trying it out. And then we moved it to community college and brought in professionals and brought in introduced the idea of a really singular keynote speaker and the lunch for them, the resources for them. and it's kind of jumped off since there. They see that we're interested in it, invested in it, and there's a ton of adults in the town that are really invested in them, and I think they really interact well with that. And then we also bring in youth from the high school to speak with them, and they love that. I think that's probably one of their favorite parts of the summit.
Getting to meet some of those peer leaders from the high school.
Absolutely.
And seeing what they have to say, and it's probably also a good way for them to kind of get an introduction into the high school next year. They're going to be 8th graders. It can be a little nerve-wracking. I know that the high school does a lot to welcome them in, but I think this is a great opportunity for them to meet, like you said, meet those students from Barnstable High School, learn about all the different clubs and activities, because I know there's going to kind of be like an opportunity for that. What do you hope that the 7th graders, really get out of the Youth Summit?
Well, there's 2 objectives. So one of them, like you said, is introducing them to the high school, showing them familiar faces who are going to be really great mentors in their next 5 years, but also introducing them ways of healthy decision making. So if they are coming from a situation where they might not have role models, or all kids are a little bit moving into that. They're kind of shaky on what you kind of test your beliefs in that situation. So they kind of come in and they get to see high schoolers who have made really, really great choices and are kind of leading the school. But they also get to meet adults who are really, really invested in them making choices and not making the mistakes they did.
Wonderful, Matt. The Youth Summit and the Community Prevention Forum are just both 2 wonderful events. Just want to remind everybody that the Community Prevention Forum is Thursday, March 15th at 5:30 p.m. at Cape Cod Community College, and the Youth Summit is just for the 7th graders. That will be taking place the next day. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Much.
I really appreciate it.
I had a great time.
Great. My guest today is Matt Hersey. He's the chair of the Barnstable Youth Commission. Coming up, Town Clerk Ann Quirk, but first, School Counseling Department Head Jen Clark talks to us about the new schedule coming to Barnstable High School this fall. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you were just here a few weeks ago, but now that the new schedule has officially been approved by the school committee, I wanted to have you back in to kind of go a little bit more into it and talk about some of the changes. The first thing I want to talk about is one of the biggest changes is the 7 selection student schedule. So the students are going to be able to have 7 courses that they are taking. And one of the most interesting things I found about it was there's going to be a new thing. Classes are going to be offered by semester.
Right.
So it'll be like a half-year course, which I think is really interesting. What can you say about the 7 courses in the semesters?
Sure. So this is something that we've been working towards for 6 or 7 years now, and based on research we've done with colleges and other high schools, and student needs and students as well, we really felt that it was really important that students be able to choose 7 courses. And so some of the traditional courses will be full year, English, math, a lot of those languages will be full year courses, but we are also able to offer a lot more, like you said, semester courses. So we were able to just really increase the diversity of our program of studies, kind of, deepen and expand our offerings for students. So we're really able to meet the diverse needs of all of our students. The counselors have just started scheduling students for next year, and it's been really exciting because this, for the first time since I've been at Barnstable High School, kids are really excited about their schedules for next year because they really get to tailor it towards their interests and their needs, and they're taking all kinds of amazing courses to challenge themselves and to really meet their needs. So it's a great opportunity for students.
Wonderful. I know one of the changes that's happening is that they're now going to be on a 6-period schedule, and while they're taking 7 courses, so not every class is going to meet every day, but there are some extended period classes that are, I think, 74 minutes long, and there's 50-minute classes and 55-minute classes. So it's really going to give them a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, and it's not, it's interesting because the schedule, it's not that different than our current schedule. Right now we have a 6-period schedule, so it's a 6-drop-1. So students have 5 classes per day. Next year they're going to have 6 classes per day, and they'll drop 1 or 2 each day, and it's a set 5 fixed day schedule.
Interesting. I know one of the big changes that kind of brought this forward was the Mass Core requirements. Right. I'm going to go over those real quick because I find them very interesting. Mass Core is going to require, and as of class of 2020, they will be fully integrated into the system. Right. So the Mass Core requires 4 years of English and math, 3 years of a lab-based science, 3 years of history, 2 years of the same language, 1 year of arts, and then the 5 additional core courses. Right. So this kind of helps you bring that full Mass Core requirement into Barnstable High School.
Right. So we slowly integrated Mass Core each year. We increased the Mass Core requirements for each grade, and as you said, with the class of 2020, it'll be fully integrated. So students were meeting the Mass Core requirements, but it was limiting their other options. Right. And so we were just producing more and more homogeneous schedules, and that wasn't really meeting the students' needs for when they were in high school and for when they leave. You know, colleges want to see students who who are very diverse and have a broad range of experiences, and businesses and employers do too. So we weren't really meeting the needs of our students. So that was one of the reasons we were really been advocating for the 7-period schedule.
It'll produce a more well-rounded student.
Right, exactly, and meet their individual needs, and that's really what we want to do.
Wonderful. Part of this, having the expanded schedule, is there's a few things that are able to happen. There's going to be SAT prep, which will be offered as a course, which I think, and it'll be free. I mean, right now you can get SAT prep. It's after school. You have to pay extra money for it. So the fact that there'll be a course available for students for SAT prep, I think that's just amazing.
We are very excited about it. The school counseling department and the department leaders are very excited about that, to be able to really make sure our students are really prepared for the SAT. Most of the research shows that student scores increase with some kind of prep. And if we can provide that opportunity for our students, that really helps to support their options when they leave high school.
SAT is such a it's such a core part of high school, and if you're continuing your education afterwards. So I think it's great that all the students at Barnstable High School will have the option to have that a little bit of a leg up when they go to take their SAT. Another thing that's changing this year is DECA, which I know has expanded and had grown over the past few years. It's a club, and now you'll be able to offer courses that support the DECA club, which is kind of like a business entrepreneurship type of club.
Right. I mean, and that club has just grown exponentially. It's super popular, and our students are doing really amazing things at the competitions and doing great. But in order to have that club, with a national organization, we had to have courses to support that. And so they were kind of letting us do that without the courses in place. But now we're going to have entrepreneurship and marketing. We have economics and finance already in place. So we have some courses, but we really needed to expand those offerings for students in order to be able to maintain our membership with DECA.
It's amazing that a club kind of steered the course, adding courses in, because and the kids, I remember Sarah Mantle, who used to work here, her daughter Emma was so involved in DECA and would just absolutely loved it, and it really fostered the excitement that she had for that kind of work. So I think it's so great that you've responded to that need, that want, because the club is grown. And I know our intern Mackenzie has talked about how because she's also involved in DECA. I mean, it's like I don't think there's a kid that I've met recently that isn't involved in DECA. There's so many students that are taking part in that. So I love that response was made to support that.
It's exciting. It really is.
It is. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Project Lead the Way, because I know that's also part of this new course offerings and it kind of supports all of this.
Right. So last year we applied for and received a grant for Project Lead the Way in engineering. And Project Lead the Way is a national curriculum, a national program, and it's connected with College Board and AP. And so it's rigorous curriculum, and it is very structured. And we have our first class that is running this year of Introduction to Engineering Design. And then next year, those students will be able to take the next course, which is Principles of Engineering. And then we've also added another pathway of Project to Lead the Way, which is in computer science. So students will have the opportunity to take computer science essentials, and then all of those courses lead to different branches of those particular areas. So students, after these engineering classes, they can go into mechanical engineering or environmental engineering, other types of engineering. And the students who do the computer science path can go on to other types of computer science, and including AP computer science. So, and Project Lead the Way is a program that is recognized and valued by colleges. So, you know, when we have that on our transcripts, they certainly know what it is and know that students have received quality and rigorous instruction.
Wonderful. Yep. I think all of these changes are just really setting up Barnstable students to just, and Barnstable High School to be, desirable. Students will become desirable to colleges, right. And Barnstable High School will become desirable to students coming to Barnstable High School. There's so many choices now in the Cape, and I think all of these changes are going to make Barnstable High School really stand out because of school choice, and there's so many options to the students who already live in the town. So I'm really excited to hear all about all these new changes, and I hope everything goes extremely well.
Thanks, Sarah. We're really excited too. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in and talking to us about this today.
Right.
My guest today is Jen Clark. She's the School Counseling Department Head at Barnstable High School. And thank you so much for joining us today and for your monthly chat. We were going to talk about the census, which I know we've talked about 2 other times before, but I hope they're starting to wind down. You're not getting so many a day, but are you still getting a lot of censuses returns?
Today we get about 100 in the mail.
Okay.
So they're still trickling in, and that's fine. We want to get them in, so we're going to take them no matter when we get them.
Right.
I'm not sure that there's too many going into the libraries anymore, but we've been out to check them a couple of times.
So it's not too late to return your census, even though it is basically March. Yes. You can still return them. So if you still have it sitting at home somewhere, or you got it and you lost it,
yeah, please get it into us, because really it's important, because I have to come up with that list of persons for the town of Barnstable, and I have a time limit on that. I have to have it done by a certain time frame according to the state. And that's an important document, because as I told you, I think the last time I was here, we had a lady who was looking to recover some money from the state of Massachusetts, but could not prove that she lived in Osterville with her aunt for 3 or 4 years, because she was never put on the census.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important. Very important.
It affects so many different things in the town. It takes less than a minute to do if you don't have to make any changes to it.
Yeah.
You have to make changes to it, okay, 5 minutes. You have to add some people on it, take some people off,
Right.
and just send it back in. You can drop it off here, you can drop it at the library, put it in the mail.
Exactly.
Easy. Just return it.
Easy.
Just return it. If you've lost it,
call us.
Yeah, I was just going to say, call the clerk's office.
Absolutely. We'll take their calls anytime. We'll send something out. We'll talk with them. If nothing has changed, we'll update it right then and there.
Perfect. Excellent.
Just let us know.
Right. It's important. The census is important. We also want to talk early voting, because I know this is a big topic of discussion. We're still not sure exactly what's going to happen with early voting, but it is something that we will be seeing in November, most likely.
Yes, we will definitely see it in November. It will probably be the 2 weeks prior to the election. Again, we're a little uncertain. We haven't been given the actual dates yet. The other piece of it was people were so excited to do it, and it was a great idea. But a lot of people were disturbed that we had boxes for the ballot boxes. We had actual boxes, and we had people standing next to the boxes so nothing would happen. But that's how we had to do it in order for those to be carried downstairs and put into my vault.
Right.
And and then all of those had to be handled over and over and over again to get them on the computers, to get them out to if we were going to send them out to the locations like we do for the polling locations for the absentee balloting. We weren't sure how are we going to handle this, and we decided we'd do it in the office. And it took teams of people, 3 teams of people, plus people sitting there slitting them open. calling out, the name of the person so it could be jotted. Oh, it was a long, long, long process. And people felt that we talked with, that called us or told us at that point, gee, I'd feel so much better if it just went through that machine, which is the tabulator, just like it does when I go to the polling location. And we've brought that forth to the legislature, and we're still waiting to hear whether they're going to allow it or not.
Right.
So that's one of the many changes we're looking for. So
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. You'll get what you're hoping for. But it is a nice to offer the early voting for people that just want to get it done. But I like to go the day of. I'm a day of voter, unless I'm not going to be in town. I like to go the day of. There's something about going to the polling location, getting your ballot, going in the box, handing it, getting your sticker, and it's the day of. You know, I love that. I love exercising my right to vote, and I hope everyone else does. So we'll keep talking about this, and hopefully we'll have some news eventually on how the early voting is going to go this year.
Yes.
It probably won't be as big because it's not a presidential election this year, so it's not going to be as exciting as it was last year.
Correct.
When we had the early voting.
Yes.
We also want to talk about dog license renewals because I know it's that season, getting dog license renewals, getting ready for Barnstable's Best Dog.
Yes, we are. It's a fun time for all of us, and it's a fun time for people when they come into the office because we have a bulletin board, and we put those pictures right up on the bulletin board with a number underneath them. And you come into the office and you want to get a birth record, or you're going to get married and you want to fill out your paperwork. You can vote. Vote for the dog that you think is the cutest, or whatever your choice is.
Right.
And we count them up that first week of May, so we can make sure we have all of our votes counted up, and we know who's going to be the Barnstable's Best Dog and get that #1 tag.
That #1 tag. It's important to make sure that your dog is licensed in the town of Barnstable. Is law.
It's law in the state.
State.
As well as in the town. So you have to be licensed. The dogs have to be licensed. And it really works out well for the dogs when they are licensed, because we had a phone call from a lady who was so upset that her dog got out, and he never gets out. It's a small dog. Unfortunately, we have some predators now around like coyotes, and they'll go after the dogs, little ones. And she was all upset, and she called us, and we found her dog tag, and we called the ACO, the Animal Control Officer's office, and they went out looking, and someone found the dog and called us and said, hey, we have this little dog, we found it roaming around, and we know that it's lost, and we were able to get that dog back to that owner. It's important. It's really, really important.
It is important, and they wear the tag, and then if something like that happens, they're able to be contacted and said, okay, we found your dog.
Yes. Give us that dog tag number.
Yes.
We can find them.
Yes. Good. So, and it's so fun for the voting for the Barnstable's Best Dog, and so it's it's in your if you have a really cute dog, or a dog that you think is really photo, you got a cute picture of your dog, because sometimes it's the picture.
Sometimes it's the picture.
It's not necessarily the dog. It's maybe what the dog is doing in the picture that sometimes edges out some of the other dogs.
I think that's what it was last year. The dog looked like he was driving the car or the truck or whatever.
Yep, exactly. So it makes it a little fun. So send those pictures in along with your license renewal or your new license for your dog, and have a little bit of fun, and then come in and vote.
Absolutely.
Good time to drop off your census.
That's right. And you can either pay for the dog license through the mail with a check, or you can come in and see us.
Yeah.
We try to make it as easy as possible.
Exactly. The last thing we want to talk about is that there are nominations for different candidates going on right now, and people are pulling papers, and so we want to make sure people are aware that that's going on right now. If you're interested in running for office, what do you have to do to come to the town clerk's office to do that?
Well, you decide if you would like to run for the state senate or for
state rep.
Come on down to see us. We just have to verify that you're a voter in the town of Barnstable, which we will do. You take those papers, you go out and get your signatures. So depending upon what you're running for will determine the amount of signatures you have to have. But I've seen people set up at the Cape Cod Mall collecting signatures for their candidate, the other candidate of their choice. You know, this is something anybody can do. We're all voters. We're all capable of doing this. It's the time and effort that you have to put in. And what happens is, once those pages are filled, you have to bring them back to the town clerk's office. And we have to certify those signatures. So we're getting those in large chunks. They're coming into us of people in the town of Barnstable who have signed papers. We're working as quickly as we can. And also right now, we're getting papers for the fire districts because they have water commissioners and fire commissioners, and those are all voted in as well. So we're getting them from all the different fire department districts, the people who are running for office, and they don't need as many signatures, anywhere near as many, but they're out there knocking on doors and trying to get signatures, so don't be surprised. Yeah.
Something I always think about when I sign those is, and I think that maybe some people don't understand, just by signing it, you're not endorsing a candidate. You're not, this is not signing you up to vote for it. It's just saying, yep, I live in the town. Yeah, you want to be on the ballot? Okay, I'll sign this so that you can be on the ballot. I think some people get hesitant to sign those sometimes because they're worried that it's, you know, they're locked into that candidate or something like that. But it's just saying, yep, I live in this town. Yep, you can run for office. Sounds good to me, kind of thing.
That's exactly correct, Sarah. And that is something that a lot of people are confused on. The other thing is, when they sign that paper, they have to give their address. It's part of the deal as far as the state is concerned, and any time, whether it's local government or state government or federal government, everything is the same. It's your name and your address. And a post office box, no one can live in a post office box. It actually has to be your address where you live.
Physical address, correct.
Right. So that's what we use, because if we can't read the signature, then at least we can look at that address and see if we can kind of figure out what that name is with that address.
Based on that address, right. And it's not being used for anything other than that.
That's all.
Yep. I think it's good for people to understand that, especially with the election season coming up. You're going to see a lot more people out there collecting signatures.
Yes, and they may be knocking on your door. You know, you will have people going door to door, I'm sure, because the more you know the people that are out there, the better you have of deciding who's going to get your vote.
Right.
Because your vote is your voice. And that you want your voice to be heard.
Exactly. And that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I look forward to chatting with you again next month.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My guest today is Ann Quirk. She's the town clerk here in the town of Barnstable. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new episode of Barnstable Today. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.